Take a look at the aviation sector. Ben Vogel is the editor of IHS Jane's Airport Review, and he joins us in the studio. Ben, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Now, the saga, let's call it a saga. Let's pretend that's like a Norse myth. Let's talk about London airports, expanding, not expanding. Who are the characters involved? What's the latest news?
Okay, well, it's pretty much a case of hurry up and wait, because there won't be a decision made until after the 2015 UK general election.
Right.
But in the meantime, there's been an interim recommendation by the government-appointed Airports Commission. They published a report in December, and they recommended expansion at either Heathrow or Gatwick. That didn't go down very well with the Mayor of London, Boris Johnson, who, as you may know, wants to build
the island
he wants to build a massive new hub east of London, and that idea was effectively kicked into the long grass. The Davis Commission haven't cancelled it outright. They're saying we're going to discuss it separately from the shortlisted options, but in effect, it's pretty much in limbo.
And is this sort of a clash of personalities about this, or is this simply the fact that we've already got two London airports? Well, we've got three. We've got sort of two major London airports. They can be sort of tacked onto. They can be added to. I wonder what the public feeling is. How much of the public consulted on this? Of course, when an airport actually physically expands, they have to be consulted. But what about the sort of moot points and the discussion of it?
Well, in terms of public consultation, the proponents of the various schemes they say they've got the public on their side. So they say they've been consulting the public on a regular basis. Whether or not they're influenced by spin or propaganda, I'll leave that up to the public to decide. No doubt there's an element of that. You talk about a clash of personalities. Well, as we both know, the Mayor of London's a very forceful personality, and he has been making his displeasure at the Airports Commission interim report felt publicly and privately. Right,
and the Airport Commission, just finally on this one, the Airport Commission itself, what sort of body is that? What's the sort of how are those people sort of elected to that? Who's on that commission?
Well, it was appointed by the government. It was set up by the government in 2012 as a independent body. It's chaired by Sir Howard Davis, who I believe used to be a prominent economist, a governor of the Bank of England, perhaps. So an independent figure, a non-partisan
a man
figure.
Who's likely to have got into a few queues coming in and out of Heathrow, I guess.
Probably. I think he's probably got a lot, or maybe as a VIP he would have been waved through,
right.
Who knows. But he's meant to be a non-partisan figure, that's the point. And he's meant to come up with a decision after the next election.
So it's a bit of a watch this space.
It is, but there has been reading between the lines, the Mayor of London's team are beginning to lose a little faith in the process.
We're going to move it on. We're going to talk about airport perimeters, Ben. Now, this might be something that you think would be set in stone, or at least set in sort of barbed wire. But there's been some problems. Talk us through this one.
Well, you mentioned barbed wire, and perhaps that's part of the problem. In so many airports around the world, perhaps not the big international hubs, but the smaller airports, the perimeter is pretty much what's called a dumb fence, simple barbed wire or chicken wire, therefore relatively easy to penetrate. However, there are technologies around to try and sort of augment the dumb fence with some smart sensors, cameras, CCTV cameras, electro-optic, infrared cameras, even ground radar. But it doesn't matter how good the technology is. It's only as good as the people who are interpreting the data and responding to it. So, unfortunately, recently, particularly in the United States, just before Christmas, there were a couple of high-profile intrusion incidents.
And what have been the reasons for that? Have people just been sort of doing it for the crack of it? These aren't, or are these all considered terrorist things?
They're not terrorist incidents. In terrorist
incidents was the words I was looking for there. Thanks for helping me out.
In one case, it was somebody who was apparently drunk who was able to climb a 9-foot fence and run across an aircraft manoeuvring area.
Wow.
Before being apprehended by a member of the airport staff. It's a strange world, the airport perimeter, and it attracts all kinds of insane people who want to climb over fences when they've had too much to drink.
I like the idea that they're very drunk people always on the perimeter of an airport fence. Let me in. We're going to talk about green vehicles now, green planes, I presume. Ben, presumably this again is another always a bit of a watch this space issue. Are they getting greener? What's the debate around this?
Well, it's not about the green planes. It's about the vehicles that, for instance, tow the aircraft to and from the gate.
Those tug.
The tugs, yes, and other ground support equipment, as it's called. Now, obviously, a lot of the focus in the industry is on the aircraft, and so the manufacturers like Airbus and Boeing, they're making greener aircraft, quieter aircraft. However, airports themselves are under a lot of pressure to reduce their carbon footprint. And so very often when they talk to the airlines and the ground handlers, they look to make their ground support fleets a lot more energy efficient and a lot greener. So at the moment, according to a number of surveys, approximately 10% of the worldwide GSE fleet is electric. But there's a lot of research going on at the moment into not just electric drive, but also biodiesel.
I quite like the idea of that. It has sort of is a top-down thing, I suppose. That it starts with the planes and it ends up being the kind of ground vehicles that also have to. I think it's green up.
It's a push on all fronts, from the aircraft and on the ground as well.
I think these planes can be presumably fueled or pulled around by these drunk men jumping over the. If you get enough of them in a harness, that's a way of moving one.
That'll be a sight worth seeing. I think
that would be a sight worth seeing. Ben Vogel from Jane's. Sorry. What have I got you? From Jane's Airport Review. Thank you very much for talking us through the aviation.